or something, but I had a school over in the inner city in 5th and Kennedy Street in D.C. A little rough neighborhood at that time. We didn't think so. It's where we lived. But I remember him showing up at my door, literally like something from a movie, saying that I want to study with you. I've been training in martial arts, and he was working out at the McKim studio, I think, at that time. But he was more he had gone to the Junior Olympics for gymnastics, as I remember. So I know he had a lot of skills in terms of physical technique, and he had studied some karate styles. So I knew he had some discipline from that. But some kind of way, he had seen me in a magazine or a movie or something, and decided, I want to come over to D.C. and I'm going to study with you. But when I showed up for my school, he was literally there at the front door, waiting. Didn't know he wasn't from D.C., didn't know that he was a young kid, because he was still a young teenager. But how did I know that he had thumbed his way all the way from Baltimore? That's hitchhiked his way all the way from Baltimore to take classes. And we brought him in, didn't have a whole lot of money and that kind of thing, but what he had was a will to be really amazing. So we got to talking to him and found out that he was working out at McKim's at that time. Never been to that studio, but we kind of took him in, and over the years, it was crazy, because I remember the guy he would either, when he had some money, he would catch the Greyhound bus over, or the Trailway bus. When he didn't have money, he'd get there a little bit later and find out that he had hitchhiked his way over, and sometimes at night he'd get back to Baltimore. We don't know how, because again, he didn't have a whole lot of money, but he'd get back and forward. And for a while, I got to the point where I knew this kid really wanted to learn, and I would take him all the way back to Baltimore. And to this day, I think he still owes me ticket money for the Trailway or something. But he had learned something when he got to us that wasn't necessarily from the martial arts schools, but I think from the center. He was a very competitive young man, and he was a very aggressive young man in the sense that he wanted to get ahead. He knew that he was living in the projects areas over there in Baltimore. That center for him seemed to represent a way out. It gave him some place to go after school, to keep him off the streets. And that's the way I interpreted it. I identified with it because I had grown up in Northeast D.C., single mom, 3 sons, whole things, really struggling. Mother was a domestic worker, and so she did the best she could to raise us. So when he told me where the background he was from, I kind of identified with that and said, I kind of see it. So he started telling me about, this Mr. Warren over there at McKim Center. I immediately realized, well, we've got somebody here who's already got a good foundation, because he's got a mentor who he will listen to and who has got him started on his way. And so we just kind of picked up on that and said, okay, let's take you into the martial arts side of it. And again, it's a long story of how he got from there to, national champion. But it was really about just coming over and training really hard and working hard. I took him to China in, I don't know, 83, 85, something like that. And it just changed his whole view, as it had mine when I went in 82. It changes your view of what martial arts can be, because you saw what they were doing with it. It wasn't just about competition. It was about making the masses of people stronger and healthier. They taught it in all the schools to teach the young kids focus and discipline. And we seemed to be, all we were worried about was winning trophies and breaking boards, and they had taken it to a whole nother level. Again, it was the masses of people early in the morning that you would see training, and I think he got a chance to see that, came back with a whole new view of where he could go with
Ultimate label, honestly, to a special spirit, baby. MR.Legend, baby. Just about to build the numbers in my head. Check the email, cause I gotta get paid. Then I hit the shower for about an hour. Listen to the monster fusion, so I got them power. No time for cowards, live up like a tower. Over bamboo and around the same hour. Then we hit Virginia, pretty big spender. With FS the winners, but who wants pretender? Twisted like a blender, show me sweet and splendor. Got the kids running out, t-shirt and I'm a blender. Plus we off the meters, man, hey, you seen us. Move like Jet Li, I feel like Aquafina. From the inner Hurricane Katrina. A band's kung fu, baby, yes, I am a leader. More or less, I know my credentials and handsets. Plus we got our own day, but I'm staying refreshed. Fool got legacy, the $9 billion dream. We always on the scene. Fool got legacy, the $9 billion dream. We always on the scene. Fool got legacy, the $9 billion dream. We always on the scene. Fool got legacy, the $9 billion dream. We always on the scene. From the mainstream, from Maryland. I'm ready for my close-up extended meal. We in. Hefty like an oven, and then we rolling out the vision. If you miss in the heat, we get up out the kitchen. Any money more, cause the dream by so you gotta let them go. Take some pumps and rope cold. Some crazy go run the road. And when the new one out with the old, I black bros too hot to hold. Play on fat like a pot gold. What's up, don't leave up. We like a fever. When you catch us, you will never want to leave us. What's up, A&E? What's up, Rebel Magazine? What's up, inside my phone? We doing the land, we know what it is. What's up, 19Q? We make a move. Bad dudes, we won't use and let the shoes and get with us and we spread out the moon. Just goes and reach to the moon. Here now, we made it. God gave us a blessing. So how we up, elevate to the moon. Fool got legacy, the $9 billion dream. We always on the scene. Fool got legacy, the $9 billion dream. We always on the scene. Fool got legacy, the $9 billion dream. We always on the scene. Fool got legacy, the $9 billion dream. We always on the scene. They come through the hip hop and divas, they concept effectors. You must explain what we're all now watching. USR, superstars, they been coming hard. Got to thank the Lord, never gotta thank God. Extravagant, like I roll your frustrated traveling. State to state, ain't no need for no struggling. 2 o'clock in the morning, we be up, we be working, stay afloat. Gotta make this money, yeah, that's a certain. Shout outs to Aziz and all those that show me. To break down Mr. Brown, work my hard to get it here. Been a foundation for a new generation. Emancipation proclamation, yeah, we rock to free the whole nation. In the vacations, we ready to roll. Just the races may occur, but you can't erase corporations. No limitations, we real and I'm strong. Put my record on, vinyl, take heed to this inspiration. Fool got legacy, the $9 billion dream. We always on the scene. Fool got legacy, the $9 billion dream. We always on the scene. Fool got legacy, the $9 billion dream. We always on the scene. Fool got legacy, the $9 billion dream. We always on the scene.
This is Untitled Revolution.
Martial arts is all I know. I eat it, I sleep it, I live martial arts 24/7. Wherever you come and see me, wherever I'm at, I'm a martial artist. I mean, it changed my life. It's my religion. It's my everything. It made me a better person. It made me a better father. By the grace of God, I found something that allowed me to express myself. And it was the creative expression of martial arts. During the time that I came involved in martial arts, people didn't know the benefits of it in the 60s and the 70s. I came into it in the 70s when it was just being introduced through Bruce Lee and the chop socky elements. And all I was doing is emulating what I seen on the stage.
Daddy! Yeah. Let it go! I said let it go! You were killed. You ain't letting nobody go, brother. We done killed everything. And you left. Let's see what you got, bro.
Yeah. Look at respect. Let's see. Please slit his wrist or break his neck. No big deal. No big deal. Got a baseball bat. Come here. Only mess with your head for the fun of it.
Where the hell did she go?
If you like like Dawbones. Dawbones talking You know this nigga try to put me in the institute.
And coming from a kung fu movie and walking through New York and feeling the vibe of the street and I know you made the nunchakus and all that stuff. What was that culture like? I mean, even being a part of a dojo. I mean, because people look, it's like some reason they look like they think that life never existed, where there was no dojos in the inner city. There was no good instructors in the inner city. What was that culture like for you?
Well, see, one thing is I explained to a lot of people that the martial arts came by way of the inner city.
Okay.
I mean, it came from the Orient.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And it was it came to this country by way of GIs, soldiers who were in the Orient, in Korea, Okinawa, Japan, who learned the art and brought it back here, right? And so where did they teach it? Not in the suburbs. They taught it in the ghettos. You couldn't teach true martial arts anywhere else. It wasn't a business. It's a business now. You know what I mean? It wasn't a business back in the day. And we grew up seeing ghetto martial art warriors. Because, I mean, literally, you could not have a business in the suburbs and teach martial arts the way it was taught back then in Beverly Hills. No, you had to go to the projects, and every great instructor, whether it be the pioneers, the Peter Urbans, that's why he taught people who that was straight up ghetto, and that was the it appealed to the real fighter, the real downtrodden, because it was developed for downtrodden people who had to fight against oppression. So you ain't gonna teach that wasn't taught. Of course, that changed a whole lot in the fighting and the the whole spirit. And then almost everybody can get that black belt. Right. You know what I mean? You didn't run into that wall, that thing that says, well, why am I doing this? And have to overcome, walk through that fire, and forge yourself beyond, what we really knew we had. But that was such a gift to us. That was such a gift to us, because nothing
allowed me to overcome these adversities that I was going through. All the things that I had to deal with as a kid, it gave me a way to express myself. It gave me a tool, a vehicle to be able to stop the bullying, stop the molestation, overcome so many things that one day I found a way to, tell my story, tell my truth, and help other people. Oh man, martial arts. But some people don't grow and become martial artists. To me, a martial artist is everything. It's a 360-degree level of awareness. It's what you eat, what you think, how you live, how you raise your kids, how you deal with your wife. It's everything. But that's why martial arts was developed, to make that complete person, mind, body, and spirit, man. It's my everything. I love martial arts.
Knowing, you see me grow, what was it like, to see how low I went down? I don't know the story because I never really, as a matter of fact, it's probably the first time I've even asked you this. Probably make me cry, whatever, man.
You were, first of all, you were headstrong on doing what Bam wanted to do. Whatever it took for you to get the attention, and this is the way when you first came to me, I didn't pay you much attention. I know you probably took an attitude and say, okay, this man don't know what he's talking about, but you were persistent. When you went to work with Kenny, you went out there, you didn't have any formal training, but you just had the ability that you knew gymnastics. And then when Kenny worked with you, you understood the need that you had to read and to study. I remember you used to walk around with your books. What's his name?
Bruce Lee books.
Bruce Lee books. Tons and tons of Bruce Lee books and acting out. Then when you got into the neighborhood, folks were saying, did you see Bam? Did you see Bam? I can recall when you kind of went off track, with your situation in the drug market and things like that. But you've always kind of had that thing of respect for folks like myself and the discipline of martial art.
So, I mean, what was it like? I guess, I mean, I'm sitting here crying, man. I mean, just to, you know,
well, you know,
see me write you from jail, or to hear me over there shooting and...
Right, you know, even at your jail experience, and I've seen it happen so many times, that was during the era of time when the distribution of drugs and selling of drugs became a major industry in public housing. When I first moved there at the age of 7, that did not take, by the time I was 13 years of age, the projects, Lafayette projects and all the other places changed. It became a warfare. It became, each building conducted its own activities. If you had one building, and I'm quite sure you had a building, you could not go beyond the 5th floor in that building because it was controlled. You know, folks were actually doing bodily harm to other folks that didn't give them that money. So it got to a point where it was survival. I mean, you can even look at it today, somewhat in some neighborhoods, for a kid to walk home from school in the neighborhood where I live at, Park Heights. If this kid doesn't have a certain swagger, or this kid doesn't have a certain connection, from the bus stop to his home, it's almost like a venture through a swamp. He's got to act the act, he's got to do the things he has to do, or he's going to get picked up. And most of these kids are not aware of the fact of what they're doing when they're imitating these guys. Well, you as a martial artist, as we met as a wrestler, guess what we have different? We can confront individuals. We don't have that fear. You follow what I'm saying? You could take somebody from the Blood and the Crips and say, look, man, this is not my walk. Now, if he know you know your stuff, he's going to leave you alone. But if you're weak, you didn't have that experience, you're going to succumb to it because you are afraid. And that's the beauty of becoming a martial artist and even a wrestler. We separate ourselves from the group. I don't never like to say this personally, but I know many of my guys and you, the drug dealers, recruited you heavily. And the reason why they wanted to come after you guys was that you were tough guys. You could handle your own.
Well, since the beginning of time, you know, we talk about caveman days when they had to come out and fight for food. They had to go in their instinct in order to try to, you know, slay the animal and bring the animal back home and eat. And then when whatever negative human emotions came about, they began to battle each other. They had to naturally find a way to overcome that combative attack that they were going through. So then when we had people that begin to branch out in other parts of the world, from China to Korea to Okinawa, they had to create their own individual styles that represented their environment and their culture. When we think of Chinese martial arts, I'll use, for example, like Northern Shaolin and Southern Shaolin. You know, Northern Shaolin represents an open, wide open space for us. So, you know, people do a lot of kicking and flying and jumping, where in the Southern arts of Kung Fu, you couldn't do a lot of jumping and flying because it dealt with a lot of rocks. So those styles had to be developed for survival of the, you know, for the human instinct, but they also had to match that particular environment. And then we look at today, I mean, when we think of our particular style that we teach, it had to be adaptable for the inner cities of places like Baltimore and so forth. So that's what kind of like answers that question. Since the beginning of time up to today, you got to make sure whatever style of martial arts you are expressing or combat, it got to be conducive to that particular environment. I mean, in the book, we talk about the 12 principles: honesty, open-mindedness, willingness. You know, you got to be honest. You got to be honest. Bruce Lee says we got to honestly express ourselves. When I honestly express myself and the person I'm communicating with, and they honestly express themselves, we got to be open to be able to comprehend what's being said by one another. And then once we are open to comprehend without judgment on what we are sharing, then we have that willingness, that faith, that act and go on. And then we do a more inventory. We start investigating and understanding, okay, that truth that I discovered from this other person, how can I apply it to myself so I can learn how to express myself in a manner that gives me strength and gives me confidence. When you are a martial artist, man, when you grow to become that, it ain't something, it ain't a goal that we strive for, we just become it. It's a combination, it's a mind and body experience where it all blends together.
Physical discipline that has to do with spirituality is the same. Very, very important. A lot of people in the hoods especially, and not only hoods, all of our people, underserved communities, they seem like they're eating the wrong food, they're treating their body poorly, not exercising, it's a real problem.
And the beauty in what you're doing, when you think of martial arts, which is mind, body, and spirit, I think it's a great merge to empower our kids. Would you?
I would say that the idea of martial arts, or the idea of yoga, or the idea of any of those things that have to do with the spirit and movement. You know, I think it's not in the Christian scripture enough about taking care of the first chakra. The first chakra is critical. You know, you got to take care of yourself so you can take care of.
The beautiful thing about it, martial artists come together. We ain't worried about no style, no kick, no punch. You know, when we together, we don't even talk about martial arts. We are martial arts. We are just people coming together to connect, to rhythmically move and change the world. That's what makes it all. And when you still have a conflict with another martial artist, you haven't comprehended the principles. It's all the same. A kick's a kick, a punch, but it's that spiritual connection, man, that makes me be able to connect with a Stephen K. Hayes or a Dennis Brown, a Tayari Casella. List goes on and on. When I go in a room amongst martial artists or Bill Wallace or whatever, we don't even talk about kung fu, karate. That's so immature. We talk about the connections that we have to change the world through our expression of martial arts. And that's what Bruce Lee talks about.
I'm here with Miss Shannon Lee, Bruce Lee's daughter, wonderful daughter. You all know about my life. You know if it wasn't for Bruce Lee's example, I would not be the person I am today. And it is such an honor to be right here interviewing her. You know, I'm getting chills by just standing here. I'm just a real emotional guy. I guess I say to all the kids that are out there that are struggling somewhere, that don't believe that your dreams can come true. Think about it. I'm a little kid that comes from the projects, and I'm sitting here with my hero, Bruce Lee, his daughter. I mean, this is incredible. I mean, I know we talk about what your dad has done for people, but I mean, think about it. He done did stuff for people from everywhere. Hip hop. I'm sorry for getting that emotional. I mean, how does that make you feel?
I mean, I just feel so honored and I feel so blessed. And, I think that my dad is a hero to a lot of people because, he arrived in America with $100 in his pocket. He, got his GED. He went to college. He opened his own businesses. He became this amazing superstar, and he did it all just by perseverance and believing in himself and knowing that and sticking true to what was inside of him. And so I think it's an amazing example for people to know that with hard work and with a true passion, you can achieve your dreams.
Man, I'm enjoying it, man. I mean, the good, the bad, the brick walls, but when you put so much love out, you get so much love back. Can you imagine the calls I can make and the people that are there and the people that are there to help me? They ain't giving me no dollars. They ain't giving me no trophies, no things. They just talking to me, reassuring me that I'm on the right path and to keep doing what you're doing. That's what my instructor tells me. That's what my wife tells me.
Even though I'm not in the ring fighting anymore, I feel like I'm training for the heavyweight title of the world with Point MMA. It gives me something inside each time. It lights a fire that makes me never want to quit. And even when I am at my pure exhausted point, is something that just clicks and brings that juice to your mouth again and makes you get up and just do one more kick or one more punch. And then, even then, when I'm like, man, you're training to pure exhaustion. Oh, what, you know, and people in the gym are like, what are you training for? And we say we're training for life. And when I'm on my knees, just like broke, my husband will tell me, will you let your son quit? Get up and do it for him. And Point MMA reminds me of how important it is for me to train like the most superb athlete ever, just to be that example for my son, or for the next kid, or even a woman in the gym that just might be looking over, you never know what she went through, and she's just looking at me, and maybe I gave her the confidence to stand up a little bit straighter today, or, you know, just feel like she has the ability to do something she's never done before, or to be an example for her kids or anybody. And sometimes when I'm in the gym training, I feel like I'm an example for some of the big dudes in there, like pumping iron and stuff. They come up and give me daps and things like that. And then when I see my oldest son train and I see him on the world stage, it just like electrifies my heart knowing that this can do this for people. And what McKim's has done for my husband, there's an opportunity for somebody to come in and join forces with us and do it for every kid of the world. Every kid. This is an opportunity for them to save kids' lives. There's no other company out there, very few that can say, oh, we did it for the kids. Save kids' lives, to turn our society around, to make it where kids can go back outside and play jump rope and hopscotch and bottle cap and all those great games that we played, freeze tag and all. You can't even let your children outside now without, you know, surveillance and being up on them. And McKim's taught my husband how to be a man and put the right people like Master Brown and Dwight and those aides at McKim's in his life. So now he is a great father, a great role model to moms that bring their kids in that are single parents, and or just even women coming in wanting to get in shape. They look up to him, and he is their Professor Bam now. For a mom who might just want to get into, or a woman who might want to fit into her wedding dress coming up, he's her Professor Bam. And McKim's did that for him, and in turn, he affects other people's lives with that. And it's important to have that in our society when you see nothing but negativity, and there is an opportunity for some company, anybody, you to come in and to be a part of that and to help change people's lives. And you never know, save a kid's life.
That's what everybody tell me. And I might be pushing, I might be moving, but I have a balance too, because there's a day where I call it the dumb day. It might be a day where, guess what? You might ask me how much 1 + 1, I don't know. Because that's the day I get a chance to recover. I get a chance to just be, just want to be. I ain't no black belt. I ain't no 7th-degree black belt. I ain't no 7-time world champion. I ain't no grandmaster. I ain't none of that. I'm just a child of God, just trying to do my very best so I can be an example of truth that God has revealed to me. And I know that might be contradicting to most people. And I say this, and I'm going to show you something. I always tell my students this. See this right here? This means nothing. Out of respect, I wear this so I can show students that we got to have a goal. You got to set that goal, but you got to lead those results up to God, because God got so much more in store for you than what you got in your head. Belts mean nothing to me. Goals, I set them, but I let them go, man. I let them go. Man, God is good, man. Today, that's all we got.
That's what's so beautiful with Point MMA. We got the sparring, we got the fitness, we got the call to action. But I just think that in our society right now, our children gotta be, they gotta be emotionally strong. Even though you're being an entertainer, everybody know that, man, this man can fight. He's a real martial artist. But sometimes people get it twisted.
Because you don't want to be called master. In my school, I tell people, don't call me Master Bam. I ain't no Master Man. There's only one master. Just call me Professor Bam or Mr. Bam. But I love the art so much. I don't want to get to that point where the learning stops. And it seems like you're that same way where you just want to be, you love the art. You're a perfectionist in just improving yourself. That's what you just said.
Yeah.
What would you say to these people? Because they have control of this next generation. If you could say something to a school owner or one of those masters out there that's working with these people, what would you say that can just help them to think about making a change to better the industry of martial arts right now?
Well, I think a lot of people have broken from their instructors and started their own system, and they consider themselves, you know, whether grandmaster, master, whatever. I just say, hey, you got to expect your students to do the same thing because that's what they saw. You know, so at a certain point, they're going to break away from you and do that same thing because you're not bound to anybody. You're not subordinate to somebody above you. Again, using the same analogy of the armed forces, there's always someone that is answered to. And that assures that the person at the top is still humble. See, now, when you are the master of your own, domain and style or whatever, if you forget to be humble with that, your students are going to forget to be humble.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
So that's the thing is like, I just say, don't get caught up in the whole master thing. That drives me up a wall, personally.
Yes, sir.
Because it's like, when you just go down, historically, it's like, okay, the root of this martial art or that martial art is Chinese, Japanese, Korean. Where the hell did the word master come from? That's an English word.
Yes, sir. Yes,
so, I mean, that came from the movies, is where it came from. Because, you was either Sabonems, you was a sensei, or you was Shifu, or whatever. Where did master come from? But, people adopted it, and now they allow themselves to be, addressed by that. Okay, that's their prerogative. Don't call me that because I'm not with it.
Have you ever met the guy that say, "Oh, it's Master Mike"?
I can't stand that. I personally cannot stand that. I'm a senpai, a sensei, another style. That's what I'm an instructor. I'm a martial arts. I'm a black belt. Is what I am. Third dan in the highest one of my ranks. And that's it. That's enough. That's enough. That's absolutely enough. Why do I have to be called something else? I mean, a lot of times they call me that because they're uncomfortable with the term being used to them, and then knowing my background, and and proclaiming themselves master or grandmaster or something. When they might have. I got folks who I taught that call themselves.
You need to make sure that you're in a class for 1 hour, but what you do, what you have learned in class for that 1 hour for 23 hours is more important. You're in here to practice on memorizations of certain elements and movements, but it's that inner sensei, that inner shifu, that dojo that lives outside. That's the dojo lives with you. The Sifu lives with you. It's inside of you, man. And it's your job to make sure you are expression of what martial arts is truly all about 24/7. You don't take it off and put it back on. You are it. You become it. You are a living, walking example of what martial arts is truly all about. And that's what the complete martial artist is about, man. Expression of mind, body, and spirit to empower one another. You come into the dojo and you uplift the dojo because of who you are. You put on a black belt and you uplift the black belt. None of those things make you who you are. You make those things what they are because of what you feel inside. That's what it's all about.
So we have to watch out. I think we have to be very careful now that the idea that, we could make millions of dollars, we can make a lot of money, is going to take us away from doing the ethical thing, showing the martial arts in the best light and working together to allow as many people as possible to study these great life ways. I think this project is really important, allowing young people to realize people have many layers of motivation. So maybe they can trick us into doing something that's going to help them, but at our expense. The opposite would be heroic, to be heroic. Sometimes I'm going to help somebody at my own expense, but because I want to, because it's the right thing to do, and they needed a little help, and I remember a time when somebody gave me a little help that I needed. So let's try to replace that politics with just humanity, and maybe even a heroic humanity.
Come on, man. How do I implement those values? I am those values, man. I cannot let them go. I am what God has revealed to me. I cannot let it go. I got to live it. I got to breathe it. You can follow me around with a microscope or anything. You will see me being the martial artist that God has allowed me to become each and every day. There is no other way to be. The reason why I get up at 2 o'clock in the morning, because I need to do the work. I need to begin to plan my work and work my plan so I can change the world. I know that martial arts is my gift, man. When I was locked up, I said something, and I haven't said it to many people, but I said one thing when I wrote to God. And when I was saying it to myself, I said, man, if through all this misery, if some kind of way I come back to martial arts, then that means martial arts is meant to be a part of my life. And every time things got bad and got hard, what saved me and helped me through that, it was the practice of martial arts. Be it write, be it read, be it practice physically or whatever it may be, man. I am a martial artist. Trying to put my life together in a book is kind of hard because I just did so many things in my life. But I like to start where this one particular day on October the 29th, 1989, I had no purpose. I was a dead man walking. I didn't care about nobody. I didn't care about living. And I stood there in a maximum security prison cell with a white sheet going through my fingertips. And I was about ready to commit suicide. And a fleeing thought just came to me, and it was my mom. And all I could think about her was in a welfare line, collecting cheese, and making one little speech to me before she died in my arms from cancer. And that was, "Bam, bam, be good." That still wasn't enough. I guess God made my little son come to my eyes, and I seen him growing up to become one of those thugs and gangsters that I thought I was in my neighborhood. And I dropped down, I begged God, please, if you would give me another chance and allow me to go back to my martial arts. I swear to you, I will never, ever abandon you again. You gave me everything since the age of 17. Mr. Kokina has taught me in a classroom on a blackboard. I was the littlest kid, and amongst all the board of directors, Mr. Kovar, Mr. LaValle, my instructor, Master Brown, demonstrating, but I took it all for granted. And when God answered my prayers, I decided to jump up in that prison cell, and I began to do push-ups and kicks every day. I began to go to the library and read every book. I don't care what it was, anything that dealt with self-empowerment, I did, because I didn't need the answers. It was already inside of me. I just didn't use them. And on that day when they released me out of jail with $20, a dream, and a vision, and believing in the unseen, I was committed to go back and get my son and relive my dreams. That 6-year-old kid who promised that he would do martial arts so he can get his mother out the projects. When I got on that bus and I stopped there in D.C. and I called my instructor, every time I look, when I caught my instructor, the greatest person in this whole wide world, Master Brown, after all I did to him, he said, "Come and live with me, Bam Bam." And I said, "No, sir, I need to live by myself. I need to check in a shelter, and I need to live on the street so I can make this dream come true." And I checked in the shelter, I got a job, and I ran to Washington Monument every day, and I worked out every day. And my instructor brought me back in the school, and the school grew. And from that, every dream I had as a little kid, from being in movies and getting my son, anything that I dreamt about as a 6-year-old manifests into reality. My school prospered in EFC at the top of the all-star list. But because of me, sometimes our worst enemy is ourself. I begin to have self-doubt. I begin to question myself. I begin to look at live based on my ego. And I believe we took a drop in EFC. And even if you look in the all-star book now, you see it's like right there around 10. But it doesn't matter because I know what my purpose is. I know what my family, as John said, look at what your weakness is. My weakness is myself. And all I got to do is look and believe and crack down and begin to go in my school and know that my purpose is to make sure each and every last one of those little kids coming at school, they don't be the person I used to be. They don't have self-doubt. I make them parents feel happy, feel joyful, and remember that if I don't give what I learned from my instructor and from Mr. Kokinis right there, I mean, if I don't give it back and keep giving it back, my school will never grow. Today I know that I'm wealthy. I don't need money or nothing like that to make me happy, because all that wealth is right there inside. What I need to do is show that every time I open up the doors. And thanks to my instructor, he has given me the strength and the power to be able to do that, and Mr. John Kokinis. So I know today what my purpose is, and as John reminds me all the time, what is your purpose? And my purpose is to give back. And I guess as I put this mic down, look inside yourself. Ask what your purpose is. What excuse do you really have? Anybody in there says the economy or whatever, it ain't the economy. What excuse do you have? I was in a prison cell ready to give up. And I dig down inside myself, and everywhere from Miss Joyce Santa Maria, Mr. Deaton, everybody right there to stand up here. This is kind of like my testimony to say thank you, Master Ernie, Master Tony Thompson, everybody in this room, Master Doyen over there, and Mr. LaValle. I mean, without you guys, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. And it's my duty to continue on and make my school a success by making every little kid. I think I can say this for myself, to make sure no kid ever be like the person I used to be. And for that, that's the greatest thing that martial arts has taught me. So thank you. That respect, the way I love people, the way I treat people, the unity of trying to bring people back together, you know, that all comes from my parents. That's who they were. One thing people got to remember, even though people came up in the hood, and this is a crazy thing, when people say, yeah, I came up in the hood, I had it hard, the one thing that we had back then was love. The one thing that we had was caring, respect, all those things that are missing in society today. So my mission in life is to take those tools that was instilled in me from my own parents and instill it in my own students. I didn't learn that in martial arts. I know everybody might say it, and I might get in trouble for that. But wasn't nobody talking about no discipline, no respect in martial arts. When I came up into martial arts, come on, man, some of that stuff was abuse. Some of that stuff was like cult following and all that stuff, man. When I came home from jail, that was the other thing that everybody got to recognize. I said, when I come back, I ain't going to be enslaved by no master. I don't care what you say. I don't care what title you got. I don't care what country you come from. You ain't no better than me. You just happen to be specialized in a specific art. But the truth of the matter is, come on, man, Bruce Lee say it. Come on, man. How can somebody take away your freedom of expression? Nah, man. Everything that I do is about showing self-love, self-respect, and even if you claim to be a master of whatever, if you show no respect, you don't deserve to be respected. Go to the streets and try to do that. That's just the other side of me, because some people abuse that in the martial arts, man. My parents showed me that, no, you go in that dojo, you show them kids how to look at you in the eye, talk to you in the eye, show respect, pay attention, do all the things that my dad always told me. I don't care if he was drunk or not drunk. He said, always say thank you. And I say to every kid, always say thank you. Cover your mouth when you yawn. Things like that's missing in our society. I'm on a mission to make sure that when you come to our school, you're going to represent all those things that I came up with in the hood. I'll say it to you again, in the hood.
So people that are watching this and you're listening, believe me, I understand the pursuit of heart. I understand, coming from the other side of the tracks, whether you're coming from the projects and so forth. I've been there, done that. And so my family's been working with high-risk kids since I can remember. And high-risk kids means, single-parent kids, they're coming from kids that they only come from one parent, and they're out in the street. Right. And in this, they have no guidance. Right. But I tell you, the power of having a knowing, and the risk people cared. And for me, I was angry at me. Really, that's what made me angry at the whole world, because I was angry at myself. I didn't like me, so I didn't like nobody. Right. And in this, it was just my family. But I started to realize, when I started to like who I was, I started to understand that, hey, there is people there that do care. People really that want to help. And this is where my family came in and started helping and working with these kids. But there is heroes out there. And if you only taste bitter, that's all you know. The moment you start to taste honey, now you have choices, because we all have choices. And this is the frame of thinking. Just remember one thing. What controls your mind controls your body, which houses your spirit. So therefore, if you put anger in your head, that's what you see, and that's what comes out of your mouth. But if you put love for what you do in your head, then that's all you see is nothing but love, and that's what comes out of your mouth. The art gives you exactly that. It teaches you not how to live your life, it gives you tools so you can live your life. And so, men that care, and you know, matter of fact, you can see this warrior here. Warrior of a light means that, you know what, he's just sharing his love. Okay? Because even if you paid him, and even if you paid me, you're just paying us to do certain things. But we choose to give you our essence for what we love doing. And this is what we're doing. We're sharing our love for what we do. And this is why I'm here interviewing you, because I'm here telling you how I got to where I'm at. And how I got here is just one day at a time. Hey, all that matters was today. When I woke up this morning, the first thing that came out of my eyes, came out of my mouth, came to my head was, thank you, God, I have another day that I can be with my loved ones and do what I love doing. But I ask for the courage to do three things. I ask for courage to be able to ask for forgiveness for somebody that my ego was too blinded and I wouldn't ask for forgiveness because I did something. Or second, to give forgiveness. To give forgiveness for somebody that did you wrong, but yet my ego stopped me and blind me from forgiving. But most important of all, okay, I was able to be able to share and have the courage to be able to share with people, okay, and share freely with something in return, just my gift. So my gift to you that are watching, the viewers that are watching this, you young kids out there, I bleed, I cry, I hurt just like you do. Okay? And what made me get to the top is my desire. Okay? Because again, whatever you put in your mind, if you got hatred in your mind, that's what you see and that's what comes out of your mind. But if you got love in your mind and in your self-conscious mind, all you see is nothing but love, and all that comes out of your mouth is nothing but love. So stay with that, and I guarantee you guys out there, hey, for you guys out there that are having a hard time just surviving, I tell you what, people do care about it. I'm one that care about how you are, how you feel, how you're thinking, where you're going. And we're one of many. And together, collectively, believe me, there's a lot of us out there. So
in our classroom, at the start of every class, we do a student's creed, but we also ask every student, how do you feel? And their response is, super good and getting better, sir. Oh, yeah. And you know why we do that? Because we want you to always think about being positive, quoting those positive affirmations each and every class. Because the dojo is a sacred place. It's an important place. It is the place where we come to and all the egos, all the negativity of the world, whatever's going on outside those doors, we leave them there. We check out ego at the door, and we come in with an open mind. And we come and begin to learn how to change our lives, how to change our communities, and how to inspire our families. That's what the dojo is all about. And you know what the real dojo is? Where is the real dojo? It's in here. We want to bring you the principles and the concepts so we can make sure you remember the most important dojo in the world is inside of you. And that makes you the most important person in the world.
And I think with you being that action hero right now, there's nobody else right now that's doing what you're doing in films. You are that person that then took that torch. You're turning out movies. Not just are you just in action films, but you on regular TV doing regular acting. I think you are that hero, and I think people in the industry needs to, respect that. I talked to you know, a close friend of ours, and I said, man, it would be awesome to get Mike to come out and do some talks to some of these school owners because they need to know that. I mean, you know, that principles and values that you represent, that's what's lost. I mean, and if we don't get that back, you can forget the art's changing.
Well, it's just sadly, it's a lot of people started the art as insecure human beings. Most of us. I think most of us.
Put my head up.
Right. But now, with power comes corruption.
Yes, sir. Yeah.
And you wind up becoming the same person that you were when you started because now there's nobody, no checks and balances. You're not answering to anybody. Now your ego's free to just, you know, fly.
Right, right.
That's what happens. That's why we got so many, you know, grandmasters and like, you know, 12-year-old fourth-degree black belts, like that kind of thing. Yeah. So it's like, okay, I almost feel like, okay, maybe you should call this something else.
Yeah,
maybe it shouldn't be called karate, or maybe you should give it another name and call it something. But I mean, you know, it's gotten a little crazy.
What you said is Tony Blauer, the guy that created Panic Attack. He said that to me one time. He said, "Man, how do guys who were once being bullied become the bully?"
A day in the life of Willie the Bam Johnson. Get up without alarm clock around 2 o'clock. Motivated, inspired, empowered, ready to go and talk to God and write to God and thank God and read and begin to become a better person and correct my wrongs and ask God to take away my shortcomings and my character defects and plan my day and work my.
If they ain't gonna let you do it in the United States, you gonna go to Italy. You gonna find a way, right?
I don't think they ever stopped me from doing
Okay.
my life. You know?
Okay.
I always had a plan in my life. Everything that I have done has been by plan.
Okay.
So when you plan something, it's kind of hard to stop you.
Okay.
Because you already got it organized. By the time it gets to them, you're already in motion.
Okay. So that's why you have so much longevity. A lot of guys just like going through the motions. They're not. A guy said, plan your work and work your plan. That's what you're saying, right?
It's like any business, not just film business or any other kind of business. You have to understand the business of the business.
Yes, sir.
Once you understand the business of the business, then you know how to operate.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
And that's what I did. I went to Europe and found out that they love me in Europe more than they love me here. So I make my films for an international market, not for the urban market.
Yeah.
Every film that has a black star, they call it an urban film.
Right.
So I get away from that thing by making my films international.
Right. And I say, because you being an inspiration, I know I be joking, but that is dear to my heart, because as a kid coming up in the hood like many other people, seeing 3 the Hard Way, seeing Hell Up in Harlem, seeing you, it was an inspiration. And even again, to be here talking to you, I say that from my heart. I mean, it shows a kid that it's truly a dream come true. And the call to action, to have you come down tournament and be a part of that, that was why we created, how can we provide information and opportunity for another generation? Don't just have to be urban, but anybody wants to.
I think it's about a plan, man. I didn't get into the business to be an actor.
Right.
You know?
Okay.
I got into business to make a point.
Right.
First of all, that black films and black people are marketable. Right. So Hollywood didn't know that or didn't really care about that. Right. So I got into the business to show that I could be a stand-up black man without being funny. Not that I'm not funny.
Right. Yeah. You are funny sometimes.
No, don't ever say that.
Yeah, I mean, you know what I'm saying. With a comeback.
The gym and work out, man, and then guess what? My computers never go off. Whatever creatively come, I create. Whoever I want to reach out to, I send texts. I'm communicating and talking. And then you know what? Before 7 o'clock, I'm ready to serve food to my kids. I'm ready to give my wife my undivided attention, because whatever I was doing cannot overlap with what I got to do now to give to my family, to make sure I can sit at that kitchen table and make that oatmeal for my little son. And when my little sons wake up, man, and they like, Daddy, oatmeal, Daddy, oatmeal. I ain't distracted by nothing else. I ain't doing no work. I'm just serving them. And then the day begins, man. The day of the life of Bam is just living life on life terms, doing my very best, making sure I don't put anything out there bad, making sure my intentions is to empower a person. When somebody do something bad to me, I do whatever I can possibly do to show love, man. I know that sounds crazy. I tell people, you know what? One of the things in Bam's life, I'm going to give you one spit. I'm going to give you one disrespect. If a man come up to me and say, I hate you, I'm I'm going to give you that one. I'm going to let that one go. But I ain't going to give you another one. But guess what? I ain't going to put myself in a situation where you can give me another one. And that's going to mess you up. Because I'm going to keep on showing you empathy. I'm going to show you love. The highest level of combat is empathy. How can you take that one man that want to kill you and make him your best friend? If you've been through the trenches that I've been through, so deep, so low, in jail or whatever, guess what? You learn to show empathy towards a man that want to kill you, and guess what? He become your best friend. That's what the real warrior mindset's all about.
And a lot of people, we talk about violence, we talk about, because even from a martial arts standpoint, we talk about, well, I'm going to show you how to break this person up. I'm going to show you how to choke this person up. I'm going to show you how to kill this person. But damn, they forgot the possible incarceration. Ain't nobody showing anybody how to prepare for the possibility to go behind those prison walls. What is the consequences of ending up behind those prison walls?
You refresh me. You know, I've spent long enough in federal penitentiaries that if I had done this when I first went in, I'd be able to fly. And everything that you encounter in a federal penitentiary is ugly and devastating. And you run into all different kinds of people, as ornery, as brilliant as anybody you could name, but they got a kind of mentality that exists in the penitentiary that is separate and aside from every place that I have ever been. It's like a balance. Everything balances off. If you call another man, not male, if you call another man a rat, gay, or anything out of his name, trust and believe, one of y'all gonna die. Maybe not that week, maybe not that year, but because usually both of you have got the kind of sentences that probably are never gonna get out of there, he watches and waits until the day that he got you at your weakest possible opportune moment. And there he comes with only one thing in mind: I'm gonna kill this guy. So that's, I say to everybody that I come in contact with, it's nothing more priceless than this. And you gotta be the message that you send, because if you disrespect another person in the places where I've grown up, again, one of y'all.
All right, let's chill out. Let's chill out. We're gonna keep it. Let's keep it sportsman-like atmosphere. Let's work. Let's cheer. Let's root. Let's go, bro. Let's go. Let's have a good fight. Good fight. Let's go. No sweet. Stand by.
like be looking like, Bam Bam, you ain't bring me no trophy. I was like, Ma, I ain't win none today, Ma. And I would see her face, Bam Bam, where's my trophy? And I say, Sight, here's the trophy, you know? If I had to go through what I had to go through for those rewards to happen with my mom and for my dad to come and see what I have achieved because he was the best that he could be, I wouldn't change nothing about it. Who would ever think that my dad would be so happy and celebrating when he just keeps saying, look at you, Bam Bam. Look how hard you work. Man, to most people that might be contradicting because you might say that man did so much to you, but that man loved me. That man did everything it's because of that man and because of my mom and because of everything that I learned to love me and be the person I am. And guess what? I become the person that they wish they could have been. And that's what I do with my kids, man. That's what martial arts is all about. You don't beat another person down. You don't talk bad about another person. You take and you be the truth that they could have been. They didn't mean to do it. They just did their very best. And when you do it right and you so true, those people will change. Zaria, you looking for me?
This is like where my husband came when he was homeless. And just, you know, just nice. I met somebody in there that's part of an organization called Flow. And I'm definitely going to be reaching out to him to do more work. Sometimes, you know, we go through things in life like my husband being homeless to come back and be able to give back to people here at the same spot where he had to beg for food or shelter or clothes or gloves to keep warm, knowing that my children and our students put together these bags to help these people, you know, just have some gloves when it gets cold or some toothpaste in their mouth when they wake up in the morning. And just to know that my husband went through this exact same thing at this exact same spot and to be able to come back and to help people is a true blessing.
My dad, an alcoholic, seeing him drink all the time, you know, my mom on welfare, you know, food stamps, cheese line, you know, the whole 9 yards of the inner city. You know, the drugs, the drug battles, the dark stairways. I mean, my mom was handicapped, seeing how people laughed at her and talked to her about behind her back. You know, it took me some time as a kid where I was ashamed of my mom because she didn't look like everybody else's mom. My mom, you know, when she gave birth to me, the story told me was that my mom carried me for 13 months. She's supposed to die. And, you know, when I was born, my grandma and them had to, like, nurse me back together by putting me in the zinc and do their own little, you know, down country remedies to save me and her. And after I was born, my mom always was in the hospital. She always got operated on. As a kid, I think I recall my mom always going to the hospital being operated on every year, you know. And, you know, she couldn't hear it. She was hard of hearing. So people would laugh about her behind her back. And, you know, when she would go and collect her welfare check or her Santa Claus Anonymous, you know, things, you know, yeah, it was embarrassing. It was, sometimes I would walk on the other side of the street because I didn't want to walk with my mom because I just thought my mom, I didn't know what she should have been. I just thought that I was embarrassed because people was laughing at her and whatever. But the one thing I can say, when I began to realize my gift with martial arts, man, I remember the one time, man, when my mom got stuck on the elevator and I was in the house asleep. And she was crying out, you know, she said, Bam Bam, help me, Bam Bam, help me. And I ran out and I ripped that elevator open. And I stood over top of the elevator and I said, give me your hand, man, give me your hand. And I pulled her up and she hugged me. And I realized that changed me because then I began to accept my mom. I began to love my mom. I began to be proud of my mom because I began to understand her situation and all the things I did. Everything I do right now, man, is for my mom. The only reason why I wanted to use martial arts to get out the projects, the only reason why I sold drugs is because I wanted my mom to have the best life. But my mom didn't want me to sell drugs. My mom just wanted me to be the best person I can be. And my wife say today, she said, if your mom was alive right now, your mom would be living with us. And that's the truth. My mom, my parents are everything, man. I say to any kid, anybody out there, man, you only get one mom. You only get one dad. You better treat them right because if you never felt that feeling to have your mom die in your arm, to make their last breath in your arm. Everybody wish they had a parent. You better respect it.
We got a kid like struggling right now, not feeling a sense of hope or opportunity to go forward. What would you say to him, knowing that there's so many kids look up to you and want to be like you?
First of all, I would tell a kid to do what he loves. Now, I always say that, but what do you really love? Think about it. Before I walked in and saw that Carl Kanai was making clothes, I didn't realize I could make clothes. Now, if you like video games, you know there's programmers that make that get paid millions of dollars. If you like sports and you're an athlete, but you can't play it, every single athlete has at least 10 to 15 people around him in the background, not his entourage that works for the NBA, ESPN magazine, trainers, everything else, that basically are the reason why he exists. So don't always look at those one or two and don't think you can't do it. If you like driving cars, then you can be a technical engineer. So you have to understand that anything you love to do, you can do it because somebody's doing it.
Bam Johnson came from Baltimore streets to become the U.S. Open men's martial arts champion. What it is for an opera singer to perform at La Scala and a painter to be hung in the Louvre, it is for a martial artist to visit China. Willie is just back from a month there, working and training with the best of the best.
China was a dream come true for me. It was like I wanted to, all my life I wanted to be better than Bruce Lee or someday meet Bruce Lee. But this dream was better than meeting Bruce Lee because I went to the fatherland where martial arts was created.
But Johnson learned more from his journey than refinements of technique.
I had moments of going to China, man. Who gets a chance to leave from the hood to go to China? But I still was not able to live with me. I was not able to accept me for who I was because I thought it was more out there than what was inside of me. I hated me. I didn't like me. I couldn't love me, you know? And jail allowed me to be able to love me. Jail allowed me to get to know me. Jail allowed me to become my best friend because I couldn't run from me anymore. And that's what I say. I just want to learn to love me. And that's what it did. I mean, I can't blame alcohol and drugs and none of those things for what happened to me. I got to blame me. I made a choice. I had a free will. I made a choice to find an easy cop-out by getting high and picking up illegal substances and trying to get by in life. And I'm going to say that it was a cop-out. I wasn't hard. I wasn't tough. Anything I used that changed my mood, or anything I used to find an easy way out, come on, man, that don't work, that don't last. And it took me to go through that level. See, jail wasn't a bad thing. It was a blessing. It was the one thing I needed. As T.D. Jakes says, there's more convicts in the Bible than any other book written. I had to realize that when I was reading about Moses and all these people, it made me to realize that this was okay. God had to put me in a place where I can only surrender and come true to what God can say to me. And then I listened to God. And guess what happened? I learned how to love me and express me, and I'm constantly on a journey of constantly trying to discover the person that God was.
Like you said earlier, if you can't express it from within, it's kind of hard to bring it from the outside.
Let me give a street word where everybody can relate to. One of the most phenomenal things about martial arts is the word energy. And rhythm is sort of the drum beating up that thing called energy. And if you don't learn to connect to that passion, you can't move with energy. If you don't move with energy, you can't move with any conviction. If you don't know how to commit to that conviction, you're not going to be able to touch your opponent and be able to convince him. I call it like the 3 C's, you know. Commit, conviction, convince. But again, the key word here is energy. Rhythm is that energy. See, it's a way of expressing it. Einstein said, life is about taking energy, converting it to matter back to energy. And like the word love, energy is the only thing in the universe that you can't destroy.
I never wish to shut the door on my past. I'm blessed. my soulmate, my everything. You know what's funny? Oh, man. Woo. You know what's funny? All my life I came up, I seen my mom being beat on and seeing the things that my mom went through, seeing the things my sister went through. I never knew how to respect women, you know? You know, you come up in the hood, you in that lifestyle, you disrespect women because that's what you was taught. One thing, once again, that happened in jail, I wanted to change all of me. I just didn't want to change one aspect of me. I wanted to learn how to respect women. I wanted to learn how to be a dad. I wanted everything. I wanted that whole 360 degrees. And when I began to change it, and I began to realize, you know, when I was in jail, I did not do anything that was related to sexual activities. I mean, people do other things. I didn't do anything for 1 year. I don't care. Anything that dealt with the desire of wanting to satisfy sexual activity, I didn't do anything because I knew I had to show this self-control that I couldn't engage in it. I had to be free to do what God wanted me to do. When I came home from jail, I didn't have a girlfriend for 1 year. That was 2 years with going out sexual activities. Because when I got with a woman, I wanted to know that I was going to treat her like I thought a woman should be treated. I wanted to show her respect. And you know what? Through reading and research, I just didn't read books about martial arts and all that. I read books about how to become a better person. And I sat on that path when I got my kid, man. I said, you know, after being a single dad, I realized that in order to have balance, I had to find a woman that could bring that I couldn't provide for him. And I had to protect them and make sure that the me that dealt with every woman, I couldn't expose them to that. I couldn't do that no more. And when I met my wife, man, I knew that she was the right one.
I've been studying martial arts since I was 4 years old. This September 19th will be 27 years. I remember the exact date that I started martial arts. And I try to remember it every year just to celebrate what it has done for me in my life. I always keep that as a fond memory of everything that has helped me overcome all the obstacles and things like that. I love martial arts so much.
I met my wife in competition. You know, we came up and she used to always look up to me. I used to look up to her, you know. And when I first met her, you know, I was just honored that she gave me the time of the day because her technique and her martial arts was so respected because she was so good, but her personality and her energy was so loving and so caring. And I was honored that she would allow me to sit with her. I was honored that she would allow me to take her to the movies. My first time I kissed her, I asked her for permission to kiss her. See, the one thing I learned through incarceration, I might not know what to do, but I know what not to do. And I know that for all the times I never asked a woman for permission to kiss her or to go out with her or to hug her, it was now time to ask a woman for permission before I just thought I deserved to do that. And I did that. And she became everything that I could ever possibly imagine. She brought the balance in my life. She allowed me to become softer. She became that everything that my son needs. There were things that I was so strict, man. I mean, when I went to the Chuck Norris show and I came back, the whole house was clean. We had like fish in the bathroom, you know, everything that I wouldn't let him do, she was letting him do. Now I had to accept that she was allowing him to be a kid. I was trying so hard for him to be a man and be better than me that I didn't realize that I was bringing imbalance to his life because I was too hard. And she made me to be balanced, the yin and the yang. And we complement one another. And sometimes she's hard and I'm soft and vice versa. You know, she's my soulmate, man. And most importantly, I respect her as a martial artist, not because she's my wife, but because what she has achieved in her own right. She is a master and she stands alone. And by knowing her story and knowing what she had to come through and knowing the obstacles she had to go through, man, I'm forever honored that she has given me the opportunity to become a better man, a better husband, and a better father. My soulmate, Kimber Johnson.
Sometimes things seem like life makes it seem like some things in life when it happens to you, it makes it seem like there's no way up or that this is the end and you're meant to be a failure. But then you have this conscience that martial arts develops inside of you and just helps you believe that you can accomplish anything and everything. And also, the reason that it does that to you, I believe the type of people that are in martial arts, they have this never quit, connive, constant never improving attitude.
to be a servant of God, I got to take pieces from every element of positivity and empowerment to destroy those negative things so I can become a more complete person to be able to serve God and do my work, man. That's what I do every day. It's mapped out. You can see it. There's a vision board. There's a 10-year plan. Not just in my 10-year plan on a piece of paper, but when I work out in the gym, I have music playing. And on the music tape that I'm working out to, it has my 10-year plan, me talking about what I got to do, what I want to manifest, you know, and then I have my schedule from every waking day until the time I go to sleep. It's all laid out. But the beautiful thing about that, because I'm a creative maniac, and I said it again, I'm a creative maniac. Because I'm a creative maniac, I need structure. But a lot of times my creativity go outside the structure, and I need those things to bring me back to structure. Because the truth in life lies outside of all systems, patterns, and structures. But you got to have that so you can be able to guide yourself in the right directions and stay on course of where you think God wants you to go. Because for me to limit where I want to go by saying, hey, this is what I'm going to do, then I'm limiting what God wants me to do and become.
And so what I have done, what I have talked about, what I talk about is the importance of learning how to build alliances and partnerships in order to achieve whatever objective you have, whatever your purpose is, right? Now, how many of you here believe you have a purpose? I hope you all do, because I don't think God created you without a purpose, right? Same for me, purpose, right? Unfortunately, a lot of folks don't know what their purpose is, right? And that's okay. As long as you're living, you have the opportunity to figure out what it is and then get on track. But whatever your purpose is, what I'm suggesting to you is that you will have a greater probability of achieving it if you figure out how to build alliances and partnerships with people and organizations to help you get there. Something in you that God gave you. There's an idea, there's a solution to a problem, there is a different mindset that you've been given that is your seed and my seed to do great things, to build wealth. But the purpose of the wealth is to do good, is the key to accelerate wealth creation. I mean, what you guys are doing, and with this warrior mindset and martial arts and the convergence of those things around enhancing communities and building a base that people can be the best they can be, that has value. That has value. And that can be monetized. So when we met the first time, that's what I saw. I said, yeah, I see this. I see it.
My parents is respect. I learned to show respect. Respect your elders. I don't care what an older person do to you. They might cuss you out or whatever. My dad said, but you don't have the right to cuss back at them. Walk away, let it be. You can go on a rooftop, yell, but don't yell it out to them. Show them respect at all times, you know. My mom was always loving.
I can't change the old guys, but I can change that next generation. Yeah. And if you, I mean, do you think just in our talk, and just even Normie, how do you think, do you think, just not, I don't know if you've seen it, but what would you think, even the concept, do you think it can change and help in some capacity, the point where make crazy athletics, like I explained it?
Well, I think so, but but plain and simple, the factor that brings me sitting here is you more than anything else.
Thank you, sir.
Is because I believe in you. I know what your heart is, and so I knew that a long time ago. So that's just the simple. I mean, I know what you're cut from, so it's an easy thing for me. And of course, I'm gonna support whatever that is. That's why I'm here.
Thank you. Thank you.
Just to be truthful.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Because I'm not complete. I'm incomplete. That's why I'm a complete martial artist. I'm not complete. I'm just an advanced white belt, man. Ain't no master. I'm just, every day I wake up, it's a new beginning, man. The moment I close my eyes, yesterday's over. The moment I wake my eyes, a new day begins. And guess what? I'm on a quest to try to be complete. You're never going to be complete. To be complete is like saying you're perfected. There is no perfection. There's only progress when you strive for it. Yeah, we all want to be that, but I ain't going to never believe that. I ain't going to believe my whole hype. I ain't going to believe that hype, that I'm complete. I'm a master. I'm this. Nah, man, forget them titles. I'm just trying to be the best I can possibly be. That's what makes it complete, because you're on a journey to try to search for it, to try to be it. I think we become it and we accept that, hey man, I'm just a beginner. I know nothing. When you come in front of a student, you are no better than that student. That student teaches you so much when you surrender to their truth of expression. You get a smile on your face. But those who can't handle that because they want to control something, what they do, they get mad and angry and make people do push-ups or kick people out of school. Nah, guess what? I want to find a way to connect with you because all we want is harmony. When we got harmony and rhythmic flow, come on, man, the world is a great place. Have you ever been, it's like being in a good sparring match, man. Y'all going at it, man. Y'all hitting each other. Y'all banging each other like, wop, 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 wop. But when it's all over, it's like, man, thanks for that workout, man. It felt so good because we had such a connection, such a rhythmic flow, and you can't even explain it. You can't even explain it. That's what a complete martial artist is, man, because you incomplete. No human being on this planet got the strength to beat you down, or to take your heart, or to take your spirit. The only thing that can hurt you is you. Suck it up! There you go, come on, one arm. It don't matter, just do it. Get it out. Don't let it break you down.
The energy that comes off this guy is just phenomenal, and it's contagious.
When you come here, you leave behind everyday worries. You know, the frustration at work. Not every day is perfect, but when you come here, you know, you leave everything behind.
I mean, everyone has their own drama, but it's nice to get away from the 7 days a week that I have at home.
Well, it's not only about the physical stuff, it's also about how to defend yourself. It's about discipline and focus.
It gives me confidence and for myself to be strong and like to not back away from anything.
In life, something's always going to be happening. You're never going to have a clear path towards success. There's going to always be something coming towards you.
Once you change your attitude in life, things start to work, you know, in mysterious ways.
I feel strong, I respect myself. Yeah, I feel like brand new every time I walk out of here.
I love that I came to Bam's Kung Fu. If it wasn't for my dad, I probably would still be overweight and not happy.
Because the girl's not going to be hitting you on the street, the guy is. Harder!
When you hear the word, the BAM, it goes beyond just the energy. It goes beyond just WMAC master. It goes to a great father. It goes to a loving husband. It goes to all those things, the things that I strive to one day be.
Go, punch! Yeah, scream it out. Scream!
He is just the embodiment of what a role model should be.
Don't you quit. Don't quit. Come on. Come on, Mr. Marvin. You know why I'm here.
I don't think they know how much they mean to me and Seth. Me as a single mom, he doesn't have a male to look up to in the household. And so when he comes home and he says, you know, Professor Bam told me I was a champion today.
Come on.
It means the world to me because he has someone that he can look up to every day when he comes into the school and say, I want to be a man just like that.
The memories that you make here are memories that will stay with you forever.